Hey, Gary here with you. Today we're going to be taking a look inside of the Puzzle Hub of Puzzle Publishers. As you can see, I just earned 10 puzzle coins for completing my daily login, and I now have a total of 115 puzzle coins. It's one of the interesting additions that has been added to Puzzle Publishers. There's a link in the description. It'll take you over where you can see what's going on with Puzzle Publishers. To include, there are now a total of 12 amazing software programs inside of Puzzle Publishers. We're going to take a look at each one of them in this video. Simply Maze Crazy Pro, Word Search Crazy Pro, the list goes on and on, as you can see. And once you create these creations, these puzzles inside of Puzzle Publishers, you have unrestricted rights to do whatever you want with what you create. Back inside of Puzzle Publishers, as you can see there, I earned my 115 coins. This is all explained here in the video, as well as the video here, which is a special video from Rob, the creator of Puzzle Publishers. It has training here for all the different products. One thing you'll notice inside of the training is Pocket Products training, as well as Standard Products training. There are different levels inside of this. If you buy a monthly subscription though, you get access to the members only area like you see right now, and you get the full software training, and that's what we're focusing on in this video. I'm going to show you the Pro software training, as well as the Pro software, as well as the monthly member templates. So the member monthly templates are simply templates that are offered for free to each monthly member. You can see here, each month has a template as well as a coupon code that you actually take over to the store. And once inside the store, you can see the things that are for sale, and you can also see how much they cost. So you see that you're getting the value of getting those for free under your members area only. Access when you get access to the member monthly templates. Of course, there is a training section. And inside of the training section, you can see each one of the Pro software has a training that lays out everything that the actual software does. We'll go ahead and now jump into the Pro software. There are tons of features here, so I'm going to do my best to just click on each Pro software and show you the basic idea, the basic concept. And then if you're interested, go ahead and let me know in the comments. When you see something that you want to know more about, go ahead and ask me, what or how can I do this in Crazy Pro or Crazy Stretcher Pro? How would I use that? Print and Cut It, Solve It Pro. And we'll take a look at each one of those in more detail in a separate video. But we're going to start here with Robot Crazy Pro Builder and click Access Now. Because when you click Access Now, that's how you access each canvas inside of the builder. And this is basically a robot builder. So they have these loaded robots here for you, or you can add your own user image simply by clicking here, and then you could upload your own image if you had your own elements that you wanted to add. As you can see, this is heads, these are the bodies, these are the arms, these are the legs, and it does exactly what you think it would by dropping in an element. Then once you drop in that element, you'll see here you have the ability to change the position or the size of each element that you drop in. For example, if you want to shrink it, or rotate it, or horizontally or vertically flip it, you just simply use the keyboard. So you go ahead and close the help, and then you click on that. And then if I want to shrink it, I'm simply clicking the Z on my keyboard to shrink it. And then once you get him positioned, you can then use your mouse wheel. I'm just simply rotating him there with my mouse wheel, and then I get him in a position that I want. And then I start adding the head. And at that point, I would bring over this head and then add that in. And of course, like, as you see, you're playing around with this to get it the way that you want. And of course, you have the bodies here, more body options, as well as both in color and these black and white drawings. And to start over, you simply just hit the trash can. So if we were starting with the bodies here, we will make something unique. We could start off with this body image right here, bring that in. Again, shrink them down, go back or go over to arms. Find the arms that you like, the ones that you want to work with. Simply drag those arms over, and you're doing the same thing here. You're shrinking it down, and I think you see the idea of what you're doing. At that point, you're just creating an image of a robot, and then you can download that as a PNG or download that as a PDF. Next up, we'll take a look at Crazy Hangman Builder Pro. Again, similar canvas, hit the question mark, it gives you the details, so you'll be able to get a hold or figure out real quick how these things work as far as flipping the image horizontally, vertically, increasing weight, decreasing width, decreasing width, grow, shrink, etc. And in this case, you are building out the gallows. So you have the gallows tops, the gallows supports, and in this case, we'll go ahead and we'll use the bone for the gallows support and then the gallows top. And there you have created a unique gallows for your hangman. And again, you download it as a PNG or you download it as a PDF. And of course, you can always mix and match all these. All you do is start over again, start with a new gallows here, drag that gallows over, go back to the gallows support, and then say you want this to be part of the tree. And again, if you want to shrink it or you want to make it bigger, you can do that easily by just selecting the object and moving the object around. Then when you have it positioned the way you like, or if you don't, you just start over again. Of course, you can add additional graphics here, and you also have the ability again to click on the user images and upload as many of those as you want. Whatever you want to do here inside of that template. Back to the Pro software list, and we have Word Search Crazy Pro. Go ahead and select Access Now. Now here's where we really get into the puzzles, because at this point now we are creating what most people would traditionally think of when they are creating a puzzle. And here you simply are going to enter a word list. You can see I've entered some words here: cat, mouse, tree, dog, mountain, and you simply click Generate Search, and there is your word puzzle. Of course, you have tons of options here, and you can see here you can play with the search width, and you can change it here. Let's say we like about an 18, and we go ahead and generate the search, and you can see there now we can download that as a PDF, a PNG. We can also download the solutions as well as the search list that we have right there. And of course, there is a help here if you want to move around the images. All you do is you select here and you start moving them around. Go ahead and close the help, and then you can start moving these wherever you want inside of the canvas, and you position those to where you like or how you like them. And then once you have that where you want it, then all you do is download it as a PDF or PNG, and also you can download the solutions. Here you can see the solution PNG in one format as well as a second format, and it flashed on the screen there for a second to show you the formats. But when you open up those PNGs, here are the different formatted solutions. You have the circles here, or you have where it's put it in bold to show you the solutions that you can add to your puzzles, your printables, your puzzle books, etc. Of course, you can play with text, colors, background, all that good stuff. In this video, we don't have time to go through all the options because we have tons of tools to go through. Next one up, simply Cutout Crazy Pro. Here, it's the same canvas. I think you see that everything is going to be, generally speaking, the same type of canvas. And all you do at this point is load an image. Here you can see I have some images. These are all PNG images. You simply just select the image that you want to work with. You bring that image in, and of course, if you move that image around, you can see that it cut out or it added the outline of the cutout. So you go ahead and refresh cutout. So in case you wanted to move it and center it, or play with the zooming a bit to make it a little bigger or make it a little smaller, you simply just click refresh cutout. There are different lines here, dot and dash. Every time you're just hitting refresh cutout. There's also the ability here to say no line and refresh the cutout. And then in that case, you could add a fill color. Let's go ahead and fill in with a red border. Refresh. Now you have a red border around that image. And again, you have the download PNG or download PDF. You also have the ability here to get rid of the image. So in this case, it's all red. So what you could do is you could make this sort of like a cut or paste or cut and paste a book. It shows up a little better if you go ahead and you say no fill and you show a line, for example, a solid or a dashed line, and go ahead and refresh that cutout. Get rid of the image. And as you can see now, you would have this image here or this outline, and you could say in your printable or your book, your activity would be to cut out the unicorn. In this case, it would be the unicorn without the line, and they would cut out the unicorn, or of course show the dash with the unicorn, and they get rid of the image, and this final activity would be to cut out the unicorn and then paste it back in the book, matching the outline. Just an example, just an idea, and that is simply Cutout Crazy Pro. Next up, if we scroll down a little bit, we are to Dot Crazy Pro. Here Here we'll go ahead, and again, there are tons of options, and also the difference between the outline image and the inner image is all explained inside of the training. Again, up here in the members area, you have the Pro Software Training where it explains all these features. I'm just trying to show you all of the softwares so you can get an idea for what they look like and how they work. Here we'll go ahead and we will load an outline image. And we'll go ahead and we will just grab another unicorn. When it brings that unicorn in, you can see you have the ability here to play with the image transparency. This is going to be important when you start working with outer images and outline images. And it gives you the ability here to make different types of images, different types or additional levels of complexity for the Crazy Pro. But the simple idea here is you simply click Create Dots, and it creates the dots around the image. As you can see, it put the dots around the entirety of the image. So in the case of this image, for the actual unicorn himself or herself, you would actually have to bring in the dots the way you want them to make sure that you're creating the outline. You can get as complex as you want, or you can make it easier by changing the number of dots. So for example, if you only wanted 10 dots, you could go ahead and you could recreate the dots. It asks you yes or no. Simply hit Y or N. And you can see here, you can make this as complex as you want inside of this. Of course, to add dots once you're inside, or you've created the dots once you're inside of creating the puzzle and you start dragging them around, you're simply going to double click to add another dot. You can see there it added 1, 2. I click it again, it added another 1, another 2. If you want to get rid of them, you simply left click them or right click them. And it's right click, left click to add dots, to delete dots, and you're simply dragging this around. And then you can get rid of the outline, which in this case is the image, because I loaded that as the outline image. You can get rid of the inner image. Here there is no inner image, but I think you see what's happening here. You have the ability to actually play with the images and create what I would consider or call layers, and as well as you can get rid of the lines. So in this case, if you wanted a very simple puzzle for a different age group, you would simply just make this where they're just going around the image to connect the dots, and whatever makes sense for you as far as complexity. There's also something here, if I add the line back, called the magic eraser. What this does is it erases the lines around, or the image. It erases as much of the outer line or the outer edge of the image that are around the lines. Of course, the more detailed you get with this, and when you actually get this line on the part that you want to get erased, for example, if I was to actually move this in on the outline of the unicorn versus the hair. So let's just say that I wanted to remove the body of the unicorn, and we'll go ahead and we'll put this where it would represent the body of the unicorn without just getting overly complex with the dots. Of course, you can make this more or less complex simply by adding those dots by double clicking. Here, I think you'll see exactly what the magic eraser does. When I start erasing, you could literally erase everything around the line and just bring it all the way in, or bring it down where you are just erasing the body. Go ahead and get rid of the lines. Now you can see that it has erased that line of the unicorn, or what would be the body of the unicorn. And again, this is a simplistic demonstration of this. This has the ability, depending on what you want to do with it and how many dots you want to add, you can go ahead and you can actually add those dots in. Then you can actually show the numbers or not show the numbers, show the dots or not show the dots. You can also toggle clockwise or counterclockwise, also detect edges with these different options. But for now, that is the dot to dot crazy with a simple explanation, so you can see that you can do different things with different types of images. Of course, the more detailed your image, the more detailed your dots, and the time it'll take you to create the dot to dot image for that image, or the dot to dot puzzle for that image. So the idea here is to just show you the tool and to show you the options. But again, we have tons to go through, so let's go ahead and keep going. Next up, Crazy Stretcher Pro. Inside of Crazy Stretcher Pro, you're simply just loading up an image. For example, we'll go ahead and keep with the unicorn theme because I have these images. And here you are simply stretching the image or manipulating the image. As you can see here, by the time I move these dots around and make this, it's going to be a completely different unicorn. You can see now the unicorn has shorter legs, it has a shorter tail or longer tail, or drag it around. This gets more complex if you go ahead and reset this with the grid. So if you change this grid to an 8x8 grid, now you're in here moving things around where you're actually really getting into the granular detail of the unicorn. And as you can see, at this point, I'm really making this something completely different with the stretch tool. I like to use this with mazes. Before I close out this video, we will create a maze and I'll bring it back into the stretcher, and you can see how that image right there is completely different than the image we started with. If I was to reset the image, you can definitely see the difference, and you see the power of the Crazy Stretcher Pro tool and also the simplicity of it. Next up is finish the image. We'll go ahead and access that now by clicking the Access Now button. The canvas will load and you will load the puzzle image. Here we'll go ahead and we'll load this image and we will zoom it into the canvas, and you're simply going to see what this does by clicking Random Hide, and it just does exactly that. It hides the image. So now what you have inside of Finish the Image is a blank canvas for someone to draw, and in this case, draw and color the image to complete the image. We'll go ahead and reset that so you can see. Here in this case, the puzzle would be to finish the unicorn's head simply by selecting that block, or the Random Hide. If you want it to come back, you simply just click it. It is really just that simple. It is simply a crazy tool to work with. And that was Finish the Image Pro. We'll go ahead and go into Print It, Cut It, Solve It. And we'll scroll up a little bit here so we can get the canvas that we need to load the image. In this case, we'll go ahead and load another unicorn, and we'll zoom him in or her into the grid. And you'll simply see what happens when I click Generate. It generates the puzzle pieces. The puzzle pieces that now become the puzzle for whomever buys this puzzle to cut these out and basically reassemble the unicorn. Of course, these can be downloaded as PNGs or PDFs. And I think you get the idea and how simple Print It, Cut It, Solve It Pro is. All right, we're getting to the last level here of the tools. We'll go ahead and go to Mandela Crazy Pro. In here, you simply come down where you have a little more canvas, a little more room, and you simply start creating a mandala. Here you simply just click on the canvas and you just start drawing. And you can see what it does. It basically takes the line that you're drawing and it turns it into a mandala by reflecting the other lines. Of course, the better an artist you are, or the better tools that you have, I'm just using a freehand mouse to do this. So you can see that's all you do, and you go ahead and you just delete that. Slices control the number of slices or the amount of lines here, and you can see that if I bring that down, you can see what occurred there, that I drew that mandala simply by changing the slices. If you want to have more lines, you go ahead and up the lines. Now you're going to see that it has less lines, less slices, more lines. Go ahead and delete that. It also has something called line mode, which basically makes straight lines. So you would bring them off the canvas like that, and then that would be straight lines, versus if I went back to the other line and go ahead and delete that. If you turn on line mode, they will be straight lines. If you delete that and turn off line mode, it will be a freehand where you can make, I'll just say, squiggly lines. And I think you can see here the power or the simplicity again of Mandela Crazy Pro. There are also different shapes, or you can add shapes and have different modes here. And you can also change the shapes. We'll go ahead and delete this, and I'll just show you one of these. You could say triangle, and now your canvas is a triangle. So anything that you create is inside of the triangle. Then when you're finished with selecting your shape, of course you have custom as well, but typically when I'm playing with it, I'm looking at doing none, and I'm working with that. You can also do something interesting here, and I'll demonstrate this in a very simple or simplistic manner using line mode. You can also change your colors of your lines. We'll go ahead and we will change that to blue, and we will use line mode, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Because what I want to do is I want to close this right here, close it in like that, and then what I want to do is I want to draw numbers. This would allow you to create a color by the numbers, and here you can also auto increment those, or you can change it. So then I could say 2, 2, 3, Or if I was to delete those numbers, I could auto increment and I could just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or I could take that off and I could delete that. And I could say this is 1, this is 1. Go ahead and change that. This is 2, this is 2. Go ahead and increment that to 3. This is 3, this is 3. And by the way, this one is 4. And there, you can also move these numbers around. So if you were to slice this up a little more, you could make this even more unique when you're creating that. You can also load an image, and we'll pick an image here. We'll go ahead and load this image. You have to change shape is template white while drawing. Zoom that into the canvas. And at this point, you could actually add your numbers. So you could say all of the body here is a number 1, but let's say the hooves are a number 2. And then you could get more granular in the hair. If you wanted the hair to be all different colors, you could say 3, 3, 3. I think you see where I'm going with this. And I would change this to 4, 4, 4, 4. And of course, you would create a color grid and add that to the image when you download it as a PNG or a PDF. But this is simply how you could use Mandela Crazy Pro, not to make mandalas, but to make images or images you have, make them color by the number images. And of course, again, you can move these numbers and put them where you like. That was Mandela Crazy Pro. Let's go ahead and go to Simply Maze Crazy Pro. Here, this is probably the most powerful, or the one that sort of sets this whole sort of software suite apart inside of Puzzle Publishers, is Simply Maze Crazy Pro. I have no doubt that you can create a maze that would be as complex or as simple or as utterly cool as you need it to be, but I'm going to show you the basics of this. Simply go ahead and click Auto Render Maze, and it generates a maze. You drop in the solution flags, which can be changed, by the way, and you see it provides you the solution. Everything is editable here. There's also an option here inside of the advanced editor, and again, I don't have time in this video because this video would be way longer than it already is, and the intent of this video is to just show you that you can actually edit, and you can prepare an outline, you can fill, you can show the guides, and you can change all the walls, everything you want to do inside of that maze, inside of the advanced editor. And as you can see, every time you auto render a maze, it creates a new maze and a new solution. You can also change the start and stop flags. I'll show you something real quick here. I'll go ahead and grab some unicorns, and we'll use a unicorn as a start and stop flag. And you'll see what happens is that change to a unicorn. You can see the unicorn right there. And now you have a flag down here. Of course, you could change that finish flag to another unicorn and simply open that. You're going to see it change to a unicorn. And if I move that unicorn, now you can see this unicorn to that unicorn is the path. The solution image can also be changed. So you could actually make the solution image a unicorn as well. So let's just say we want to make this a running unicorn. Now you're going to see it's a little tiny unicorn inside of the path. And as I move the starting and the finish unicorns around, if it can find the solution, it will add the little unicorns into the path. So let's go ahead and download that as a PNG. And you see here we have the image. Now I'm going to go back because I wanted to show you this in Crazy Stretch Pro. Because inside of Crazy Stretcher Pro, once that canvas opens and you load up this image, this is one of the things that I like to play with, is upload that maze, and then you can see you can start really changing this maze around, or you can actually make this very unique by stretching the maze and changing it and making it sort of a weird image depending on how you stretch it and how you make it. Of course, if you reset that and you change the grid, the more grid or the more points you add, the more you can impact the stretching of the maze and make something extremely unique for your puzzle creation. Again, that's Crazy Stretcher Pro, and using that with what we created in Simply Maze Crazy Pro. Next up, Search It, Find It Pro. And inside of Search It, Find It Pro, this again is a simple tool, but can get quite complex. But the idea here is you go ahead and you fill in these objects simply by adding the objects in, and you have the find object and you have the fill object. So in this case, you want to find the star. You can see I clicked and I added 3 stars. If you don't want those 3 stars, you simply delete them, and we just add 1 star with 1 simple click. Then down here, we would add in these other elements. And all you simply do is select your quantity with this quantity drag handle, and you select add. And as you can see, it adds in the elements that you want to add, or the elements that you are using for your fill objects. And then you have the task or the solution right here. There's a solution. That's the element you're looking for. And then you have the task. If you click download task, it will download as a PNG. And that gives you your task list. In this case, you can see there were 2 stars to be found inside of the Search It, Find It Pro. You can also add your own images. You can see down here, you simply just click on the add button, and then you can add in those images. In the case of our unicorns, if we wanted to add a unicorn, we would simply add that, and then the unicorn would be added, and then we click, and then we could add some unicorns to our space maze or space puzzle. Also understand this comes with different animals, different animal squares, or different animals in different formats, other characters, game pieces. Let's see, there's also a fish tank. This includes the fill objects as well. Playing cards. You can see here we got playing cards. We have landscape. So you can mix and match all this stuff, or you can go none and you can add your own find objects, and you could also add your own fill objects to make something unique like I did here with the unicorns. And that is Search It, Find It Pro and its basic use and operation here inside of Puzzle Publishers. Next up is Graphical Search Crazy Pro. And simply to bring this into the screen, I have to scroll up a little bit. The bigger your screen, obviously, the more area you'll have to play with this. Graphical Search Crazy. This is basically a word search tool with different types of letter sets built in. Or you could add your own custom, where you could actually upload them. If these were custom letters, you could add those in. If you had those images, we'll go ahead and we will just go ahead and go with wood. We'll add some words: tree, wood, cut, saw, forest, and we will generate the search. And you can see how simple this is. There you go. You can move these around and you have a Graphical Search Crazy Pro. Also, there are emojis. So you could generate a new search and you could have a graphical search based on emojis. Again, tons of options here. Change the puzzle width, change the puzzle background opacity. If you want to add your other images in here, you can drag or drop graphics in here. Again, we'll use the unicorn. And if you want to add the unicorn in there as a background, and then once you get that in, you can start playing with that unicorn and generate the search. And then there you can see when you're playing around with this, you're going to figure out if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, obviously unicorn overlaid over these certain types of emojis don't make sense, but you see the power or the ability that you have to generate the search. And then when you're finished, if your puzzle makes sense, you go ahead and you download it as a PNG or a PDF. But you see there's tons of options here, tons of things to play with. And you can find out all that again inside of the Pro training or the Pro software training. And those are all the tools. This was a super quick walkthrough just to show you the tool, not to really show you a finished product with each tool. But if you are interested, let me know in the comments and I will walk through exactly how I use these tools. Because one of the things that you get when you actually purchase Puzzle Publishers or join the membership is you get access to a Facebook group, and inside of the Facebook group, you'll see things that are happening that other puzzle publishers are doing with the tool. And don't forget, it also has the special earn while you learn status of getting coins and gems. And everything that you get or everything that you want to do, you get unrestricted rights to everything that you create here inside of the Puzzle memberships. Link in the description. Check it out. Have any questions, ask me in the comments. I'll talk to you later.